The Hardened energy cell is a device capable of storing redstone flux. It's the next tier up from the Leadstone energy cell, and it's capable of holding a maximum of 2 million redstone flux. It can be picked up by using the sneak and right click method. By default, the sneak button is shift, so if you hold that and then right click on it with a crescent hammer, it'll dismantle it. When you do that, you'll lose any redstone flux it's holding, so just keep that in mind. If you're not pressing the sneak button, right clicking on it with the crescent hammer will simply rotate it. When placed, you can right click on it to bring up its interface. This bar in the middle here will show you how much redstone flux it's holding. As we can see, it's currently holding 0 out of a total of 2 million redstone flux. This bar will slowly light up with the bright red as the cell fills up, but just be aware that if the amount is lower than 90,000, nothing will show up in the bar, and at a glance you might think that it's empty. Either side of that, you'll see the max input and max output redstone flux rates, and these plus and minus buttons each side will allow you to alter them. By default, they'll both be at the maximum level. For the Hardened energy cell, its maximum input and output is 400 redstone flux per tick. Hovering your cursor over the plus and minus button will come up with a prompt. This will tell you the increment it'll affect the output rate by. The left number is for a left click, and the right number is for a right click. So if I want to decrease it by 50, I just simply left click once, and we can see it's decreased to 350. Now if I want to increase it by 10, I can just right click on the plus sign once, and we can see it's risen to 360. If I hold the shift key on my keyboard, we can see the prompt has changed, now allowing me to increase or decrease it by 1000 or 100, depending on which mouse button I use. If I hold down the control key on the keyboard, it'll allow me to increase or decrease it by either 5 or 1, again depending on which mouse button I use. There's also a redstone control panel here on the interface, and it just provides a small amount of additional control over the energy cell. But you'll still be able to use the cell as normal, even without changing any of the options in this screen. The button with an icon of a gear on it will take you to the configuration screen. Here you can set what you want each of the energy cell's faces to do. The color of each of the faces is identified by the color of the little squares in each of the corners, and these correspond to the colors of the squares on the actual faces on the outside of the energy cell. Any changes you make on this screen will show up on the outside of the cell. Their positioning lines up with the orientation of the cell, so here we can see the Hardened energy cell's front face has these horizontal lines on it. This corresponds to the middle face in the configuration window, and by default the front face will always face towards you when you place the cell. From there, the rest of the faces are positioned relative to that face. I'll change the colors to orange as I go just so you can see. This one here is the top face, this one here is the left, this one here is the right, this is the bottom one, and of course this is the face on the back. There are 3 colors to choose from. Blue, which allows redstone flux to be input through that face. Orange allows it to be output via that face. And yellow will simply not allow any energy conduits to connect to that face. So for example here, let's set the front face to yellow and place a dynamo here. It won't connect because the energy cell won't allow it. Let's change the face to an orange color for output. Now it looks like it's connected, but when we switch it on, no redstone flux is being collected in the energy cell. It's all building up in the magmatic dynamo's internal buffer. Now finally, let's set it to blue for input. After reconnecting the magmatic dynamo and starting it back up, we can see the redstone flux is entering the energy cell normally. If you found this video helpful or informative, please give it a like, and if you want to see more tutorials like this one, you might want to consider subscribing. If you have any questions, please post them in the comments, and have a great day!